This video is not gonna fix you, because you don't need to be fixed. You're not broken just because you're a people pleaser. I hate when people make videos about topics like this, and the title is something like, "Never people please again, become unfuckwithable," completely bypassing the fact that you have been conditioned year after year after year to be a people pleaser. If you are a chronic people pleaser, it's not something you can just watch one video about and be healed and be fixed. Not to mention, you are not broken just because you have a coping mechanism. In fact, it makes a lot of sense why you ended up this way. This isn't your fault. The reason that you prioritize everyone else's needs over your own and suppress what you really feel is because you were taught that you weren't worthy. You were taught that you shouldn't take up space. You were taught that you aren't valuable. It makes sense. I'm not gonna come on here and say that you need to fix yourself because you're a people pleaser, because obviously you know that it's not helping you. It's not helping you grow, but you can't get rid of it because you have a deep attachment to why you have these coping mechanisms in the first place. You keep believing that you're gonna get something out of it because it's been so conditioned in you. And I know that sounds like a victim mindset, because obviously you do have a part you play in this, but that's what I'm gonna be talking about in today's video. I'm gonna be talking about certain realizations I've had about the part I've played into people pleasing, because obviously you know this isn't a coping mechanism I want, but I'm still so attached to it. There's reasons we do things, even though we recognize, okay, people pleasing isn't good. I'm prioritizing everyone else over myself. It's exhausting. I feel drained. I feel unworthy. I have people around me who don't even actually care about me, but I'm still giving to them because I want to prove myself worthy in some weird way. In this video, I'm just going to be sharing some of those realizations, and I hope you resonate with me. And if not, then that's totally okay and that's totally valid. I just want this to be a safe space for people who felt their entire life that they shouldn't be taking up space. You're safe here. This is the space that you take up. I know everyone else has told you that you can't take up space. Here, you can take up space. And this video is going to get deep. I'm going to be talking about why you're addicted to people pleasing, how there's a victim mindset surrounding people pleasing, and also how there's a manipulative aspect to people pleasing that nobody really talks about. The first thing I'm going to talk about is how there's actually a manipulative aspect to people pleasing. And the way I realized this was, number one, realizing that manipulation isn't always a conscious effort. Before you go off at me in the comments and be like, it's not good to call people pleasers manipulative, blah 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 blah. It is manipulative. When we think of manipulation, we obviously think of, oh, someone's big and bad and they're, you know, a narcissist and they're manipulating this one person. It's like, yes, there are people in the world who consciously manipulate others. Manipulation is not always a conscious effort to try to deceive a person. It can literally stem from a coping mechanism of growing up by being manipulated. For example, if you're a kid and your mom promises you that every single time after school she'll get you McDonald's as long as you're good. So you're taught to behave, I'll be good for mom because I want McDonald's, right? You might have been taught that at one point you weren't good and you started crying and everything, and then your mom told you, no, you can't have McDonald's this time because you threw a fit. And because of that experience, you're like, okay, now I know that next time I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good for mom because I want McDonald's, right? Now let's say you've been good and mom just stops giving you McDonald's altogether. It's been 2 weeks, you haven't gotten McDonald's once. You know, sometimes she doesn't give it to you and it's not always expected and whatever, but you're starting to get a little bit sad because, you know, she promised you that if you're good, she'll get you McDonald's. So one day you finally have the guts to ask, Mom, can we get McDonald's? And she goes, just be patient, don't worry, I'll get it to you next time. So you're like, okay, you know what, it's fine, I'm excited for next time, I want McDonald's. And so you wait and McDonald's never comes. And one day you just say, Mom, you never get me McDonald's anymore. I don't like you anymore, right? And then your mom goes, you're a horrible person. You see what you just did to me? You just screamed at me. You didn't scream at her, you just shared how you felt. You just screamed at me and I was just about to get you McDonald's. You see how much of a horrible person you are? You should feel ashamed of yourself. Even though she's lying. She wasn't about to get you McDonald's. She just doesn't want to admit that she's wrong. She's just manipulating you into feeling shame for who you are because she's lied to you over and over and over again. And as a child, the only thing you are able to do is say, I am a horrible person. Mommy did all of this for me and I'm just this ungrateful little brat. I know some of you might be on this video saying, this isn't that big of a deal, it's McDonald's. If you grew up in a situation where this was the normal, small things turned into big things, everything was escalated, you were taught to suppress how you felt. You were taught that your feelings were bad. You were taught that you were bad. You were taught that you actually needed to be the parent for your parent. If you had to emotionally regulate a parent growing up, it causes you to be hyper aware of how everyone else is feeling, but very, very numb to how you are feeling. Until you get smart enough to realize that when mom's happy, I get what I want. I know how to manipulate my mom now. It starts that way. That's how the manipulation starts when it comes to people pleasing. You please your mom in order to get a certain thing for yourself, in order to get a basic need met of yours. So growing up, I internalized this feeling, I internalized this shame, and I was just this bad person, you know what I mean? This caused me to fabricate myself in order to be liked by others, in order to be what I thought people wanted me to be. So how is it manipulative? Well, you are fabricating yourself. You are lying to other people to make yourself seem a certain way. So when you get into relationships with people, friendships, relationships, whatever the case may be, people will feel like you lied to them. At first, you might be this easygoing person. Yeah, that's fine. That's cool. But naturally, you have ulterior motives. And when you don't get what you want, you blow up. That, and you tend to be a very passive-aggressive person. And I'm saying this because this was me. I tended to be a very passive-aggressive person. I didn't know how to explain how I felt to other people, and I would just internalize it until I blew up at people. This also led me to associating love with sacrifice. You know, I have to sacrifice a part of myself in order to be loved by others. In order to be accepted, I must be someone else. A deep, deep shame for who I was. And if you feel this, you are not alone. This is valid. This is literally what comes with people pleasing. I hate when I see videos about people pleasing and it's like, never people please again, and people are just talking about, you just need to set boundaries. It's like, okay, well, what's under why you don't set boundaries? I despise how our society's solution to people pleasing has become hyper individualism and egoism. Like, being selfish is not a solution to being a people pleaser. Taking away all your energy and just assuming that everyone around you is an energy vampire and everyone around you is preying on your downfall, and like, that is the same exact thing as narcissism. And I said what I said. There's an aspect of being an empath or being a people pleaser that is a double-edged sword. It is the same thing as being a narcissist if you're not aware of how it goes into your victim mindset, if you're not aware of the ways in which you are manipulative. And then when other people don't act in accordance with what you like, you blow up on them. The mask is revealed. You reveal your true self because you had ulterior motives from the beginning and you didn't know how to communicate your needs because you've been taught from years and years of trauma that in order to get your needs met, you need to fabricate yourself. In order to get your needs met, you need to manipulate. And so when you realize people pleasing isn't working out in your life, you'll kind of go through an identity crisis because you realize you've been attached to calling yourself a people pleaser. You like the idea that people take from you because you don't want to be the one that isn't taken from. You don't want to be the one that isn't chosen, because what then? When your entire life has revolved around other people taking from you and you being of use to other people, you don't know how to center yourself around yourself. You don't know how to center your life around yourself because it's like, what do I do? I like the idea that people took from me because I didn't like the idea of not being taken from at all. I didn't like the idea of what that would mean to my self-concept to not be taken from, to stand up for myself. Because from my trauma, it would mean that I'm not worthy. It would mean that I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to be taken from. And I know that's twisted, but there's a part of this people-pleasing aspect that is serving you, okay? It's serving your inner child because your inner child is needing to be healed again from this. Even though it's causing you so much pain, the pain is familiar to you. So you attract people who mimic that because you are trying to prove yourself worthy to your parents over and over and over again. Girl, I know you might need to take a drink of water because I need to take a drink of water after saying that. Oh my god. In order to let go of an unhealthy coping mechanism, you need to identify the ways in which it was serving you in some messed up way, because you wouldn't continue to do it if your brain didn't think that there was some type of benefit to it. Being a people pleaser is exhausting. It is not a flex. Nobody chooses this coping mechanism. You feel every single little thing. You get in your head so much worrying if people are mad at you because you're just existing. You're just breathing. Literally, I feel like people pleasers would walk into the room and be like, hey, is it cool if I breathe this air? Like, yes, dude. Asking permission for the craziest things just because they've grown up in an environment where they had to tiptoe and walk on eggshells around everything. I see you. And this is not your fault. And one hard pill I had to swallow is the type of people you attract when you take pride in giving your power away are people who are willing to abuse it. They will take your power because they've been taught the complete opposite. They've been taught that in order to feel worthy, they must control others. And the worst part is you might actually be attracted to this because in some ways you're looking for a savior. You're looking for someone to give you what you want. That's why you eat up the breadcrumbs. That's why you secretly enjoy when you're so anxious waiting for a text back. It's because of all of these reasons. It's because of the trauma you have. It's because your inner child is screaming, yes, please, pick me, choose me. Like, seriously though, when you meet people who are healthy, you'll actually reject yourself too. What I mean by that is other people will see that you're coming off inauthentic. They'll see that you're not acting in accordance with their values. So when you meet someone who has like healthy coping mechanisms, you'll misinterpret their actions as manipulative because you're so used to being screwed over by others. You tend to be numb to your emotions because you feel everyone else's emotions. One thing that you can do to notice when you're people pleasing is notice when you're exhausted. If you feel drained when you hang out with a certain person, if you feel like you're overextending yourself, you might start to feel scared because you know that you need to set a boundary. I can't set these boundaries for you. I can't write you out a to-do list on how to stop this behavior in yourself. All I can do is give you some insights I've had on people pleasing, and hopefully that helps you. Because again, this is still something I'm working on, but something that's really helped me is just recognizing I know when I need to take a step back because I will feel physically exhausted. When you start showing up as your authentic self and setting the boundaries you know you need, if people in your life are uncomfortable with it or just need more clarity, that doesn't automatically mean that they're like this bad person out there, this narcissist and whatever, you know what I mean? There's nuance to every situation, but just know if someone blows up at you because you say, hey, I just think I can't do this anymore, I don't feel well about this situation, or whatever the case is, that's a sign that you're moving in the right direction and you're moving towards people who have similar values as you. Sometimes because of the fact you've been conditioned to fabricate yourself for others, you will literally be surrounded by people who have completely different values than your true self. But because you're so detached from your true self, you don't even know what your boundaries are. You don't even know what your values are. That's why it's so difficult to set them, because you haven't come to yourself and actually, written them down and actually recognize like, hey, this person does this one thing that I don't even think I resonate with. And also, people change. So if you take one thing from this video, know that it wasn't your fault. Okay? I know this video wasn't the most actionable video where you can take certain steps. I know I tried to share with you some of the realizations I had, but there's only so much I can do, and these are also things I'm realizing myself. With that being said, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what you relate to down in the comments, and I love you so much. You are so worthy. Also, you guys know what to do. Be sure to boost my engagement by subscribing, liking, and sharing this video, and thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you guys in next week's video. Bye, guys.